While the astronauts were following ground control instructions, the spacecraft suddenly exploded. All the instruments on the spacecraft sounded alarms. The thrusters moved erratically out of control. The spacecraft's voltage dropped rapidly. The instrument panel turned red, and the 3 astronauts began emergency procedures. At the same time, the command center detected an oxygen problem and a complete system failure. The space agency had never encountered such a situation before and was temporarily unable to help the astronauts, who had to rely on themselves for rescue. In 1970, the United States launched the Apollo 13 spacecraft on a lunar landing mission, but unexpectedly encountered major problems en route, leaving the 3 astronauts stranded in space. The commander noticed through the window that oxygen was leaking. They quickly shut off the batteries, but to no avail. The oxygen continued to leak. If this continued, they wouldn't even have enough power to return to Earth. The Mission Control Center implemented emergency measures, transferring navigation data to the lunar module and converting it into an emergency return capsule for survival. Soon, all 3 astronauts were transferred to the lunar module. However, the lunar module's carbon dioxide filter was only designed for 2 people, and with 3 people breathing, carbon dioxide levels had already exceeded safe limits. If this continued, they would run out of oxygen before even reaching Earth. The ground command center directed them to make carbon dioxide filters, with each step meticulously detailed, even using socks. The astronauts were already showing symptoms of oxygen deprivation, but fortunately, they managed to complete the filters in time, successfully saving their lives. Suddenly, the command center realized that the return capsule was entering the atmosphere at an angle that would cause it to be bounced back into space. However, the computer had run out of power, so they had to rely on manual adjustments. If the adjustment was too large, the capsule would plunge into the atmosphere and burn up. But in order to return to Earth, the 3 had no choice but to take the risk. They worked together to activate the engines, but the rocket shook violently and was extremely difficult to control. Fortunately, they managed to adjust the angle of entry into the atmosphere without incident. The return capsule successfully entered the atmosphere, turning into a fireball due to intense friction as it hurtled toward Earth. Once in the blackout zone, communication was lost, and everyone could only anxiously await the outcome. Soon, the return capsule successfully landed in the designated area. The 3 astronauts had created a miracle, and the rescue team arrived at the scene shortly afterward. They had successfully returned to Earth.